Hi, everybody. Happy 4th of July, Monday, the 4th of July. We just got in this morning from Taos, and we are now in Durango, Colorado. We play tonight, and then after the show, we drive on to play Red Rocks tomorrow night, which I'm really looking forward to. It's one of my favorite venues I've ever played, and I've played there many, many times over the decades. And it'll be great to be back there again. Last night's show was just crazy. I mean, we're still in a little stripped down band because of COVID. I'm not sure when the singers and the horn players and Buck and everybody will be back with us. I think they're going to be driving to Denver, and then we'll make a determination there whether or not they can be a part of the show. But last night, it, it was kind of looked threatening all day weather-wise. But we started the show, and about 5 songs into the show, man, there was a lightning storm, thunder, and it started drizzling, which then turned into a torrential downpour, and it was an outdoor gig. They hustled us off the stage after the 5 songs, and we jumped in the bus, and people were covering themselves with visqueen and umbrellas. I mean, the people who live there know what to expect, but we don't. But they were covering all the gear, and they put quickly put the tent up over the mixing console out there, and we waited this storm cell out, which took about an hour, and then we came out and did another 2 hours of music. The crowd was fantastic. They were into it. And you don't want to walk away from these. You know that. Well, you've played 5 songs, so you've met your contractual obligation and stuff. Well, hell with that. We want to play the show, and so it was great. I just ended up getting out a lot later than we expected, but the crew did an unbelievably great job. The fortunate thing is it was supposed to be a co-billing gig with Chris Isaac, but they're still down with COVID. So they're not on these few shows that we're doing now until they're healed up. It would have made it really difficult because then suddenly on stage, I mean, we have a pretty small rig without the horns and without the singers and everything. We're really just a tight little band on stage, so the gear was not a big deal. If we would have had Chris's whole band and all their stuff, there would have been a lot of cases and a lot of gear on stage, and it would have been a lot more catastrophic for the crew to deal with. They would have done it because we've got a great crew out here. But these things happen, and just glad we got the show in and we're here. And then it's been pitch black, and when I got this morning, I looked out the window, and there's a river roaring right alongside the hotel here. So after I finish this, I'm going to try to get out. I have a couple of things I have to work on before we check out today. It's I don't know what time it is, 12:20 now, and I think we check out at 2 o'clock and head over to the venue. So I'm going to throw a little music at you. And a real comfort zone for me musically is always going back and visiting James Taylor. This is where my career started, and when I'm sitting here, like when I'm with Russ right now, I'm looking at Russ, and Russ was my first professional drummer that I worked with, and here we are sitting on stage side by side, still like 52 years later, and I look back, and there was Cooch back in the day, and here we are with the immediate family, still with Cooch and Russ and myself together, along with Waddy and Steve. But one of the first projects I ever recorded with James was Mudslide Slim and the Blue Horizon. That we did this in 1971. We recorded it at Crystal Recording Studios, and it was between January 3rd and February 28th of 1971. So it was early in that year, and produced by Peter Asher, engineered by Richard Sanford Orshoff was his name. And it's the same studio where we did Jackson Browne's first record. And that was like one of our go-to studios. I did many, many, many albums there. And that was where I began working with the great John Fishback, who is the person who introduced me to James Taylor when I was in Wolfgang. And he eventually moved down to New Orleans, and he's been recording stuff with Judith Owen on all her recent projects. And he's a fabulous human being and a tremendous engineer. So, I mean, all of these things, I mean, you look back, half a century later, and we're all still connected and still working together. So it's a pretty amazing journey we've all been on. But I'm going to play a few of the kind of internal songs that didn't get all the airplay. One of them did. I'll play that one right now. And with Judith, we did a really great cover of it, interpreted the way Judith reinterprets people's music. And that's Hey Mister, That's Me up on the jukebox. And let's see, on this one, it's a really stripped down thing. I mean, these were simple recordings for us. It was James on vocals and acoustic guitar, myself, Russ Kunkel on drums, and Carole King on piano on this track. So let's go ahead and listen, because I got stuff to do and I want to play some music for you here while I'm in Durango, Colorado.
Hey mister, that's me up on the jukebox. I'm the one that's singing this sad song.
This is my old Peace Love bass.
Well, I'll cry every time that you slip in one more dime, and let the boy sing the sad one more time. Southern California, that's as blue as the boy can be, blue as a deep blue sea. Won't you listen to me now? I need your golden gated cities, like a hole in the head, just like a hole in the head. I'm free. Hey mister, that's me up on the jukebox. I'm the one that's singing this sad song. Well, I'll cry every time that you slip in one more dime, and let the boy sing the sad one more time. I'm headed home. Hey mister, can't you see that I'm as dry as a bone? I think I'll spend some time alone. Yes, unless you found a way of squeezing water from a stone. Let the doctor and the lawyer as much as they can. Let the springtime begin. Let the boy become a man. I done wasted too much time just to sing you this sad song. I done been this lonesome picker a little too long. Hey mister, that's me up on the jukebox. I'm the one that's singing this sad song. Well, I'll cry every time that you're up and slip in one more dime, and let the boys sing the sad one more time.
Carol.
Well, I've been spreading myself in these days, don't you know? Goodbye.
It's just a trip listening back to what we were musically doing back, these over a half a century ago. Yeah, so that is my old Peace Love bass. This was a few years before we built Frankenstein. So this was my go-to bass. This is the bass I used on Dr. My Eyes, on Stratus with Billy Cobham. Every record I did up until we built Frankenstein, I just had this one bass, and that's what I used on everything. And I still got it. I don't know if I got it, but I got the bass. And once in a while I take it out on a project and it works. In fact, we just used it. Who knows? I've lost such track of time during the course of this pandemic, but we did this big fundraising project with Jackson Browne, and we recut Dr. My Eyes. And when we were in the studio working on our immediate family album at Jackson's studio, we finished up, and then Jackson said to me and Russ, "Would you guys we got to cut Dr. My Eyes." And I had that bass with me, and Russ had his original congas with him. And we're all sitting there playing, and Jackson's sitting at the piano, and we look at each other and went, holy crap, we were sitting looking just like this 50 years ago playing this song. And it turned out great. You know, everybody's still got their game, so that's the cool thing. Here's a great song. I always love this one. This is Love Has Brought Me Around. Because a lot of the internal things, James was really an album person. You really had to listen to whole albums. It wasn't just like the album that has like the hit single and then the rest of it's filler. All of his stuff was great on everything. So this is me, excuse me, this is me and Russ again, Carole King on piano, Cooch on guitar, Russ and Cooch both playing congas, Peter Asher playing tambourine, and the Memphis Horns, which they were so great, Wayne Jackson and Andrew Love. And the background vocals on this are James Taylor and Joni Mitchell. You know, and it's always James playing acoustic guitar and singing, so that's a given. So here we go, Love Has Brought Me Around.
Don't come to me with your sorrows anymore. I don't need to know how bad you're feeling today. I declare I've had my share and I've heard it all before. It's time for me to be stealing away. Let those rain clouds roll out on the sea. Let the sun shine down on me. Hey, hey, love has brought me around. Love has brought me around. Yes, it has. Love has brought me around. Love has brought me around. When my sky was full of gray and my day was full of blue, there was nothing I could do to see myself through. Now my head is full of springtime and my heart is full of you. And goodbye, lonely you, it shall all come true. This November I detect a frown. Close your eyes and turn it upside down. Whoa, whoa. Love has brought me around. Love has brought me around. Don't you know? Love has brought me around. Love has brought me around. Yeah. Now I know you know what I've got to say isn't no cliche anyway. So they say, love has brought me around. Love has brought me around. Oh, love has brought me around. Love has brought me around. Yes, it has.
When we were in recording these songs, what the process was, James would just sit and play the song the way he hears it on acoustic guitar, and then we would all like figure out our parts. And there was no charts for anything, no preconception. It was just a matter of getting in. We might spend, the luxury we had in those days was we had time. We didn't have somebody sitting there. Come on, guys, let's get to work here. Let's get this done. If we had to spend a couple of days working on a song to find it, we did. Or a lot of times, you would in those projects, you might, as the project goes on, go back and revisit some of the first things you cut because now you've settled into a groove and you want to go back now. And you save what you had, but you might try recutting it again just to see what happens. And sometimes a song vastly improved, having been in the studio for a week, working on other things. And other times we just sat there and went, no, it's cool. It was really good. So we were happy with that. Here's another really beautiful song of James's. I think Carol wrote this. Let me see. I'm not sure. Let me see if they got credits on here. Artist. Right. Well, it says James. It felt for some reason in my mind like it might have been one of Carol's things, but I might have lost my mind anyhow. Long Ago and Far Away. This is myself, Russ Kunkel, Carol King on piano, Cooch on congas, and the backgrounds again are James and Joni Mitchell. So here we go. Long Ago and Far Away.
Long ago, a young man sits and plays his waiting game. But things are not the same, it seems, as in such tender dreams. Slowly passing sailing ships and Sunday afternoon, like people on the moon I see, are things not meant to be. Where did those golden rainbows end? Why is this song so sad? Dreaming the dreams I dream, my friend. Loving the love I love to love is just a word I've heard when things are being said. Stories my poor head has told me cannot stand the cold. And in between what might have been and what has come to pass, a misbegotten guess, alas, and bits of broken glass. Where do your golden rainbows end? Why is the song I sing so sad? Dreaming the dreams I dream, my friend. Loving the love I love, to love, to love, to love. Oh no, 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 no.
It was always great when Joni would be around too. Her energy and her creativity always, boy, totally raised the level in the room. And just great people. It's just the simplicity of it. I mean, just sitting there, Russ is playing his conga part and everything. It was just like, I love that stuff. Here's a song called "Let Me Ride." And this was another James song, and it's myself and Russ Kunkel and Danny Korchmar, and Kevin Kelly is playing piano. Now, when I met James Taylor, I was in a band called Wolfgang, and I met all of that because of our drummer, Bugs Pemberton, knew John Fishback. Well, Kevin Kelly was the keyboard player in Wolfgang, and he was brought in to play piano on this. And this also has the Memphis Horns, Wayne Jackson and Andrew Love. And the background vocalist on this is Kate Taylor. This is just before we cut Kate's first album, Sister Kate. These things, boy, it is. It's weird. This is like an incredibly tangled web but it's a web that if you pick it up, it falls out perfectly. It isn't all knotted up and anything like that, because everybody still is connected and still, as often as possible, making music. I mean, I just not that many, a year ago, whenever it was, that we were out on the road with Peter Asher and Kate Taylor, and just having a great time together, touring. It was during the super cautious pandemic tour, but I mean, everybody is still so close, and we just did Kate's Sister Kate album 50 years later, and it was Russ and Cooch and me and Waddy. It was just, these experiences really are these things where I sit back every once in a while and just sort of just bask in them and just go, this has really been an incredible run, and I'm so appreciative every day of this. So here we go. This is Let Me Ride.
Golden brown and let me ride. Don't deny the highway in my soul. Jump and sing that silver thing that I feel inside. Hallelujah, let that big wheel roll. It's time to give me just a little bit of old time glory. Talking about the coming of the sunshine story. Set this poor soul free, let it be. Oh yeah. Break these bonds that hold my soul, and I'm on my way. I can't help feeling there's no time left to lose. I done made my mind up yesterday, but I just can't stay. So hand me down my highway shoes. It's time to give me just a little bit of old time glory. Talking about the coming of the sunshine story. Set this poor soul free, let it be.
It's a lot of different feels. So that's a tasting from Mudslide Slim and the Blue Horizon, 1971. I mean, this is really about the first time for me I had ever been in a recording studio. I had only been in with Wolfgang to do some demos with David Rubinson up in San Francisco, and that was really it for me. I had never really played, never had to think about how do you get a sound, how do you do all this stuff. So we were suddenly thrown into a position of, because of the fact that James went from like nobody knew who he was to like the biggest representative of this new wave of music, and we were all riding that wave with him. We went from no experience to being first call players on everybody's albums, and just wondering, what the hell am I doing? What's going on here? Let's shut this. I'm hearing a buzz. Oh, I think it's the TV. So it's been quite a journey, and I must say I wouldn't have changed a thing. I loved every second of it, and I'm still loving it, and I can't wait to get on stage today and play for the folks of Durango. I feel so fortunate. At this point, I'm just going to wish everybody a very safe Fourth of July. This is a night where it's a nice evening for celebrating, even though I wish there were other things to celebrate as we see some things being taken away from us that really are things that should have been right in the front of our celebrating, this holiday and freedom. But also, it's always saddens me when you hear the next day about, people go out and they unload their firearms in celebration. They're shooting guns and rifles and stuff. Bullets come down. And it might come down a mile away from your house, and it could hit somebody out just sitting and eating, some barbecue or something. So don't do anything like that, and be really careful if you're playing around with fireworks. You always hear these reports, so the emergency rooms are full with people that have blown fingers off, or they've got sparklers in their eyes, and it can be a really fun evening for celebrating with friends and family, but it can also be an incredibly dangerous evening. And especially if you have pets, lock them, have them in the house, put them in a room, turn the TV up real loud. I've done this every year. I had one of my old boys who's no longer with me. We would have to give him doggy downers because he would get so stressed by fireworks, especially since I live in the proximity of the Rose Bowl, and they do one of the hugest of the fireworks displays, and it basically sounds like a war zone when that show's really cranking. You can feel the whole ravine area just shakes. But especially your pets, man, just put them in a situation where they're not going to be stressed completely. People lose their animals during this period. They leave them out in the yard and they get so crazy. They jump a fence they would have never been able to do in the past out of stress. And they don't find them again. It's not the way you want to celebrate your holiday. So have a safe and sane Fourth. I'm going to get ready. I got a little work to do, and then I'm going to head off to sound check, and we're going to kick some butt here in Durango, and then jump on the bus and head to Red Rocks, which I'm really excited about. Tomorrow I'll do a video walkthrough of Red Rocks and try to show the whole place and the inner sanctum, the kind of the places nobody ever gets to see. It'll be fun. I'd really want to share that. So take good care. Happy Fourth, and I will see you tomorrow.